Yeah, I used to call it medicinal too. Yeah, medicinal. Wow. Okay, so hi there, folks. Welcome to the live stream. My name is Jim, and this is Dr. Natasha filling in for Dr. Tiff tonight. And I'm laughing, I'm chuckling because we're talking about two of the products that we're getting ready to go into detail about. And I'm talking about how I mix them. We kind of all turned into mixologists, and I mixed one flavor and another flavor, and it tastes kind of like a hot toddy, at least in my opinion. And I used to drink a lot of hot toddies before I quit drinking. And Dr. Natasha said, yeah, it's kind of medicinal. And that's the way that I would have described a hot toddy back in the day too. I don't know if it was the honey that's kind of soothing the throat, or the lemon, or
Yeah.
the booze. You know, the Jack Daniels might have been doing the trick. But folks, welcome to our live stream. My name is Jim, and I used to be a type 2 diabetic. And I love saying that I used to be a type 2 diabetic because I know that people don't hear that every day. It's not normal, right? People, what did he just say? He used to be. I beat it. I'm in remission from it. I've reversed it. You know what? As of today, I'm at, February 14th of 2023. So 2 years, 8 months, almost 3 years in. I just had my A1C pulled today. I'm at 5.1%, completely unmedicated since February 14th of 2023. And truth be told, Natasha, Dr. Natasha, it slipped up a little bit, but I'm not gonna lie. I've known that I was slipping into some bad habits, and so it's just a small course correction. But 5.1 is still, even slipping into bad habits, I'm at a 5.1%. So completely unmedicated. I also had high cholesterol, high blood pressure, all the above, and I'm just living my best life right now. And so, folks, if you've been invited to this, stick around. We're gonna go through. We're gonna give you a bit of a show today. Bring in some excellent guests, and Dr. Natasha is filling in for Dr. Tiff. Dr. Natasha, why don't you tell the people who you are? Tell me. I'm new to you. I'm excited about this. Guys, before she goes, I've actually watched her lives on TikTok before. She doesn't know this, but I'm kind of a bit of a fan. I was watching her, so.
Wow. Thank you so much, Jim. You are a superstar, as you know. And I've, watched you and listened to your story. I had tears the last event that we had, and you shared your story. You had tears. I had tears. The audience was in tears. Your story is incredible. And that is the power of what we're doing here. And so thank you so much for having me on. Dr. Tiffany is fantastic. So I'm super honored to be able to fill in for her. My name is Dr. Natasha Pierre. As you can see in the flag behind me, my family and I are originally from Haiti, the country of Haiti. And I emigrated to the United States when I was 7 or 8. And I've always wanted to be a doctor. My sister reminded me, even when I was a toddler, I always wanted to be a doctor for children. And so through all of the things of life, I did become a pediatrician. And my passion is children's health because they are our future. And so when their health is in trouble, which it is now these days, then the entire population is in trouble. So I'm passionate about what I'm doing because I also, as a physician, didn't realize that I didn't have the full picture. It wasn't taught to me as a doctor, and therefore I wasn't able to teach to my patients, even though I've always been big on addressing the root cause of illness. So I myself, through the stresses of medical school and residency and board exams and all of the long, long hours we work, developed chronic, insulin resistance, which we'll be talking about today. But I didn't realize that that was the cause of my weight gain, my chronic fatigue, my tiredness, my inability to lose weight, my cravings, and even prediabetes in medical school at some point, and also cholesterol creeping higher. And it is in my family, diabetes is. And so it was something that I thought was just progressive. That's what they teach us. It is a progressive illness, but they don't teach us that it's reversible. So I'm super grateful to be here to discuss this with you all because, yes, we have a problem, but we also have a solution.
That is a powerful story. You said a lot right there. So I'm fascinated. Okay. And as you're talking about, the health of our youth, it occurred to me, just a couple numbers bounced to my head. There was a study that showed there's a projected 700% increase in diabetes amongst the youth by the year 2060. And we're actually outpacing that right now. We're ahead of that, which we don't want to be ahead of that. We're moving quicker. And then, just if you look at the fastest growing percentage of our population that's becoming obese, it's our children. And you start looking around, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say about, the cause and that sort of thing. I'm kind of pulling back because, of course, I know, just want to give it away. Okay, so folks, if you're just joining us for the first time, if somebody has invited you to this, that means that they think that whatever it is that we're going to talk about in here could benefit you in some sort of way. And chances are it will. So I don't believe in happenstance. I don't think things happen for coincidence. I think, you're here for a reason. Stick around. Give us an hour of your time. Maybe this will be the thing that you've been looking for. I bet it is. If you are one of these people who is having just an amazing experience on the system, this is a prime opportunity to share it out. Share this with people. And we are across so many different platforms right now. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you kind of name it. We're on all of them. By the way, Dr. Natasha, do you want to give your social media connections, how people can give you a follow?
Yeah, sure. On TikTok, I am Dr. Tasha Heals, so DrTashhaHeals, so Dr. Tasha Heals. And that's pretty much where you can find me. I also have a newsletter, a Substack newsletter. And in that newsletter, it's Dr. Tasha in the newsletter, so DrTasha. So I also provide more long form content on how you can heal yourself holistically, mind, body, and spirit.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. And then, of course, I'm the Healthy Pit Master on all the major social media platforms. I'm everywhere. But if you are one of these people that's had just an amazing experience on this system, this is a prime opportunity for you to help introduce it to somebody else. That's what this thing's all about. Sharing. Let's share this with somebody else. So if you're on, like, say, Facebook, all you have to do is type that little @ symbol and then start typing their name, @Natasha Pierre. And at some point, their name will populate. Just hit enter. Done. They're tagged. The next time they log into Facebook, they'll get a notice. If you're on YouTube, share this out. All you got that little arrow, just share this out. Share it with them by text. Share it with them by email, something like that. They'll get it. They'll watch. If you've been invited to this, again, just give us an hour or so. This might just be, like I say, the thing that you're looking for. Whoever it was that invited you here probably thinks that this could benefit you in some way. So, and then at the end of this, if you should decide you want to order, just get with that person, whoever it was that invited you here, and they'll tell you how to order the system as well. Dr. Natasha, here's my favorite part of this is bringing in some testimonials. And I don't know anything about your testimonial. I know everything about my testimonial. Where do you want to start? I always give Dr. Tiff this. She gets every week.
Yes. So I would love to start with the fact that almost to the day, 2 years ago, my grandmother passed away, and she passed away from complications of diabetes. Of course, with her elderly age, she fell and then went into rehab, then got infections and, needed oxygen, and then she died. But I noticed that her illness started to progress, even though she did everything right. She took her metformin. She was never on insulin, but she did everything right. She didn't eat processed foods, but she did everything right, and yet her illness still progressed because she never addressed the root cause. And then fast forward to my own health and the health of my family. Again, I started to notice the creeping upwards of biomarkers that were concerning my insulin levels, or my blood sugar levels, and my cholesterol levels. And of course, the biggest one was my weight, which I tried everything to do to lose the weight, and I did all the diets you can think of, and it would go down for a little bit, but it wasn't sustainable. And then my nurse at work, she on the outside did not, look unhealthy, but she suffered from a lot of chronic inflammation and autoimmune illnesses. And we always tried to see what she can do in terms of her hypothyroidism and her gut health issues. And she ate really clean. She had a personal trainer. She did everything right, and it would still be, she would still miss the mark somehow. And then she was very fortunate to found this system via a gentleman called Dr. Kenny on social media. And because of this, she decided, I have nothing else to lose. And I started to notice, in front of my eyes, her symptoms improving, her body morphology improving as well. But the most important thing was her lab work. Now, as a doctor, nothing is real unless you can measure it. And so losing weight is not difficult to do with the next fad diet. It's, are my biomarkers improving? And I literally saw her biomarkers changing. Her hypothyroidism was reversing. Her inflammation was improving so much. Her cholesterol improved. Her gut health improved. So she was able to eat gluten again. And she was able to get off so many medications. And that's when I became a believer. I was like, what is this? And so I tried it myself literally a year to this day last year. And that's when people started noticing, wow, you're looking
Wait,
younger.
October 29th was 1 year?
Yeah, around this time, like around
Okay.
like October of last year.
Okay.
When I started, I was already doing some intermittent fasting, which was getting some results, but it wasn't until I introduced the protocol that my nurse introduced me to that people started to notice the changes in my own morphology. They started to say I'm looking like Benjamin Button, and this was also measured by my SMART scale that said that I was less, like 3 years younger, when I was always a little bit older biologically. So I started noticing changes in my muscle mass, in my energy, and I realized, what is this? How do I not know about this? And so when I did more of my research, I realized this was something that doctors can actually look up in the desk, in the reference, in the physician's desk reference. And I said, why is this not known? And I somewhat regretted that I didn't know about this. My grandmother was still alive, but my mother started to have pre-diabetes rather, and I was able to help her reverse it in 2 weeks, so to speak. So yes, and so now I'm been on the mission ever since to help my friends and my family, and then also further out, because there's a lot of people that need this and they will never know about this, not unless we speak about it.
That is crazy. Wow, 2 weeks. You know what? I say that it's crazy. For me, it was 43 days.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'm here 2 weeks, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. And it's held. That's the most important thing. It's held for a very, very long time. So, okay, what I want to do is I'm going to bring, first off, I sent a kind of a message behind the scenes here. Angelita, I don't see your camera is on, Angela. I don't know if you can. I'm going to go ahead and bring Kim out here. Oh, there it is right there. I'm still going to bring Kim out. I just wasn't sure if Angelita had her phone on. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Kim. And this story I absolutely love here. Let's go like this. This is the one I want. Yes. There we go. Hi, Miss Kim.
Well, hello. How are you?
I am wonderful. So some of you guys may remember Kim. I had her on as a testimonial. It's hard to believe. It feels like it was yesterday, but it was almost a year ago. And you had an amazing story up until that moment, and it's done nothing but improve past that. And so, will you, start from the beginning again, because a lot of these people have never seen you before, but start from the beginning and just tell us your story, Kim.
Okay. Well, I started the program on January the 23rd of 2025. I started the program at 291 pounds. Had no quality of life whatsoever. Well, I just never moved, never went anywhere, didn't care about going anywhere. So I couldn't lose weight. I tried everything like, a lot of others. I'd start something. My husband would say, I'll give it 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And most of the time in 2 weeks, I gave up. Went back to my old bad habits and nothing ever changed. So I watched Jim and Sheena and Michael Martin. I saw them on Facebook and watched them for a while. And I thought, I'm going to try this. Well, I changed my mind and I'd wait a little longer and finally said, you know what? I'm not getting any better like this. I'm going to do it. So my husband said, go ahead. You tried everything else. You might as well. So I did. The first week, I weighed at 291. On Saturday, I went to my sister's. I had lost 10 pounds. I said, well, maybe we're on something here. So it was like 5 pounds a week. It was enough to keep me from giving up. So at the end of the month, my husband says, are you going to reorder? I said, it's being auto shipped as we speak. So yeah, I mean, I'm a lifer on this stuff. I will never be without this. It's the most amazing thing I've ever tried, and I've had more. Well, it's just been more rewarding than anything I've ever done. Like I said, I started out at 291 at yesterday, or this morning I was at 155. It's been 9 months. I would like to get to my goal is 150 pounds. That I need to be at 141, so I don't have much further to go. My life is back. I enjoy getting out. I enjoy going. Walk. If I'm not walking, I'm on TV exercising with the ladies on there. Uh, Mowing, I'm helping Tim mow. I could never fit on the zero turn mower. And I've started mowing. I weed eat. There wasn't a day that I would come home that I sat in this house, and that's all I ever did. I enjoy getting up, going, doing. Matter of fact, I'm probably about to wear him out. He'd like to rest. Oh no, not today, buddy. We're going. But I'm eating healthier. I've never been one to go to the doctor and get a lot of stuff, tested. But I know my numbers are better. We do check my sugar; it's great. My blood pressure's down. No inflammation. My joints doesn't hurt anymore. I mean, I could sit here and talk about it all day long.
I'm actually in the process of uploading. I just decided I wanted to upload another picture to
Okay.
that site. So give me a second here. And it's the one recently that you did.
Okay.
I got to import the photos. I'm sorry. I should have had this ready, but I didn't. That's just the way that I do, right?
Well, it's all right.
Okay, so let's go here. Actually, did that pretty quick. I'm reasonably impressed with myself. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy, huh? Now, Kim, I guess last time you had kind of talked, there was a little bit of an emotional side of things. And I don't want to peel back that scab a little bit, but I do. There was, dig into that a little bit, will you, Kim?
I will. I have 2 children. They have children of their own. They're into the sporting events. And of course, I would make every excuse in the world why I couldn't go. The truth is, I was embarrassed. I didn't want to embarrass them. Couldn't climb the bleachers. I was afraid to take, the chairs you sit in. I thought, goodness, what if I break one of those? How embarrassing is that? I couldn't get up. Couldn't walk. If I took any steps at all, I would have to stop and breathe. The same way I work. I work in the back. If they ever called me up to the front, it was like, oh gosh, how am I going to make it up there? But I would stop halfway just to breathe. I dreaded getting up and going anywhere. I didn't dress very well. Now I have a closet full of clothes. I enjoy going shopping. I had one pair of raggedy shoes. I have a closet full. I enjoy getting, dressed up. I would wear my hair up. It was terrible. I didn't care anything about going to, get fixed up, my hair fixed or colored or anything. And now I'm there twice a week. I mean, it's just amazing what this has done. And I would say it's given me my life back, but it hadn't. It's made it 100% better.
That is incredible.
I have 3 ladies that I work with that decided to follow me on the program. They trusted me enough to do this. The first one is Angela. You know Angela.
Mm-hmm.
She has done amazing. She has lost 81 pounds. Her A1C started at 7. It is now at 5.9. Her cholesterol is great. She's off all of her diabetic meds. She gets around better, breathes better. She's loving it.
I think
I
Angela's
have,
a lifer as well, right?
do what? I'm sorry.
Angela's a lifer as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're lifers. There's no doubt about it.
You know
And
what?
I have
I
a
want to ask
cherry
that
soda.
question. Anybody that's in the audience, if you're a lifer, type lifer.
I'll never be without it. And these girls or ladies, I've got cherry soda. She followed me and Angela. She's down 79 pounds. Her sugar is great. Blood pressure is great. She's losing every day. Carol, the plant manager, she's in with us. She was not a big lady at all. She was like maybe at 100, maybe 158 or something like that. But she was bigger than she wanted to be. Her daughter is a bad diabetic, so of course she was trying to do, for her daughter, eat healthy with her. And she said it didn't matter what she doing. She said I may lose a pound, but I gained a pound or two back. Since she's been on this, she is down 30 or 31 pounds and kept it off. Feels great.
That is awesome.
It's really awesome, and it does my heart is good for me to feel good to see them doing amazing also.
Look at that. Your story's amazing. You're a rock star. Okay, Miss Kim. What I'm going to do is just like last time. I'd like to shut your camera off. I want to put Dr. Natasha up on stage. We're going to see how she does under pressure,
Okay.
and have her kind of explain to everybody what exactly is happening behind the scenes. Why are we so sick? But what I'd like to do, Kim, is bring you back at the end of the live stream if anybody has any questions for you.
Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I see Blenda is a lifer. I know Blenda is a lifer. How are you, Blenda? Okay, so Dr. Natasha, the stage is yours. Talk to us.
Yes, so I'm actually going to share my screen. Is that okay? I have a little presentation for us. So
Absolutely.
we'll see that in a second. Screen share. Share window. Okay.
I think it'll pop up on my end. It is right there.
All right.
There you go. I'm going to turn my camera off so that you have more screen room.
All right. Are you able to see it? Oops.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. So really quickly, I'd love to discuss with you the silent epidemic. We alluded to it a little bit, what we are dealing with right now and what the root cause of this is. And unfortunately, not a lot of medical professionals are aware that this silent epidemic is a root cause of the modern disease and how we're going to turn the tide together. So this is the reason why we're taking our time to talk about this is because this is actually a global epidemic that's hiding in plain sight. Right now, 93% of American adults have some sort of metabolic dysfunction. That means they either have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, or high waist to hip ratio. So there's at least 93%. So that means pretty much everyone you know has some form of insulin resistance. It exists on a spectrum. And so it's not either you have it or you don't. Pretty much everyone has it. It's just the spectrum of illness. And insulin resistance is the root cause of the most common illnesses that are taking a lot of lives right now, including obesity and type 2 diabetes and heart disease being the number one killer, as well as Alzheimer's. There are some countries and some literature that is calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes, and even hormonal issues such as polycystic ovarian syndrome, which causes a lot of issues for women, not including infertility. And then, of course, this leads to dysfunction in your metabolism, which impacts your entire life. Just like Kim was saying, she was tired. She did not have the energy to go anywhere. And some would label that as laziness, but it was actually her metabolism that was working against her. It impacts your energy, your mood, even the way you learn, of course, your longevity as well. The problem with insulin resistance is that it affects, of course, 88 million people in America right now have prediabetes. And the problem with it is that 10 to 20 years before diagnosis is when you usually have insulin resistance. But you never know it because your doctor is not actually checking for insulin levels when you go get your labs checked. They check for blood sugar and they check your A1C. But even though if those are normal, you can still have insulin resistance. So what is insulin resistance? We've been talking about it. Insulin resistance, I'm not sure if you can see me on the camera, but insulin resistance, I have my friend Bob here, is essentially not a problem of having too little insulin. It actually is a problem of having too much insulin.
We
And
can
so
see.
insulin is a hormone that literally acts like a key in order to allow the blood sugar, the glucose after you've eaten a meal, to go into the cells to be used for energy. And it's released by the organ, the pancreas. So the pancreas is the organ that releases insulin to lower your blood sugar so that that blood sugar can go where it needs to go. We have an opposite hormone that raises your blood sugar. So everything has to be in balance. And when your cells receive when insulin binds to these receptors, then they open and the cell can absorb that glucose for energy. The problem now is, we're going to discuss this in a couple of minutes, is that we're having too much insulin because that insulin is being released way too often and too frequently. So like anything in the body, when it's not released in a cyclical pattern, then the body becomes deaf to it. So essentially resistance develops because the cells do not listen to insulin signal. So therefore more insulin has to be released. So therefore your blood sugar may be normal because more insulin was released to lower it, but high insulin alone is detrimental to the body. So why is that? Why does that happen? Because high insulin is not just a hormone to lower blood sugar, but it's a growth hormone. It grows things. So when you have too much insulin in your system, it causes inflammation and it causes a cascade downstream that leads to detrimental results and cellular damage. So the root cause, we talked about insulin resistance causing all of these major illnesses, and I can guarantee you that most modern physicians are not aware that insulin resistance is a root cause of most common and chronic disease. So I would invite you to take a look at these symptoms and on the right and the diseases on the left. And if you or someone you know have any of these illnesses and you went to the doctor for it, I guarantee you they did not say, let's look at your insulin levels and see if that's elevated and let's have a plan for this. But essentially, it is a root cause of course, we know it to be diabetes and pre-diabetes, cancer. Unfortunately, a lot of cancer is metabolic or metabolically, it's a metabolic disease. PCOS, we talked about that. Fatty liver is rising so fast, not just among adults, but as a pediatrician, I'm seeing it in children as well. I had a colleague, pediatrician, who diagnosed it as young as 9 years old a couple of weeks ago. And heart disease, number one killer, is a huge factor in insulin resistance as well. High blood pressure, a lot of my friends, I'm 41, a lot of my colleagues, funny enough, have high blood pressure and are taking medications for that. So this is happening much, much earlier than in the past. And Alzheimer's, unfortunately, is a huge factor. Being the root cause is being insulin resistance. Migraines, chronic headaches, erectile dysfunction for men, neuropathy, frequent urination, all of that is caused by insulin resistance. So if you're not sure whether or not you have insulin resistance, just look at the list on the left, or excuse me, on the right. Do you have dark skin patches behind your neck? Do you have skin tags? Do you get tired after eating? Do you have acne? Were you diagnosed as pre-diabetic? Do you have a lot of cravings for carbs? Are you constantly fatigued? Do you have belly fat that you can't seem to lose? Those are all signs of insulin resistance. So the reasons why we're jumping from all of a sudden you woke up and you have an illness is because doctors are not actually tracking your insulin levels. So year zero, let's say 10, 20 years ago, that's when your insulin started to rise because your cells were resisting insulin levels because it was already your eating pattern already caused too much insulin to be released. And so your cells started to deafen the ears for insulin. And so around year 5 or 10, that's when you start to have these symptoms that you assume are stress related, or, I'm just getting a little bit older, fatigue and cravings, but your glucose still remains normal according to the doctor's office. And then you go to year 10, 15, that's when you start getting the diagnosis of prediabetes. Now your blood sugar is finally starting to rise because insulin cannot keep up. And again, it's dismissed as being a borderline disorder. And then by year 15 or 20, that's when you get, boom, the diagnosis of type 2 diabetes and other complications. such as autoimmune diseases and heart disease and high blood pressure, high cholesterol. So as you can see, it's been happening for many years, but we're not actually checking the root cause, and therefore you don't have a chance to reverse it when you could have in the beginning. So the modern dilemma, how do we get here? The problem is that about 30 to 40 years ago, the food industry did something very interesting so that they can basically sell you more food and allow it to stay longer on the shelf. They removed something very, very, very important in our food that is found in nature that prevents your blood sugar from spiking so that insulin doesn't have to be released so fast and so high. The thing that they remove from our food is fiber. So if you look at this apple, it has the complete fiber that your body needs so that your blood sugar doesn't rise so high. And we're eating or drinking rather the apple juice. The apple juice still has the minerals and the vitamins, but it lacks the fiber. When you drink the apple juice, your blood sugar spikes really high. Then your insulin has to come out after it to lower your blood sugar. When your blood sugar is lower, you automatically feel hangry. You feel very, very hungry all of a sudden within 2 hours. Then you have to eat again. And then it goes up and then it comes down. Everything that goes up must come down. And you're doing this 8 to 10 times a day. And then 10 years later, you're diagnosed with diabetes. So removing the fiber from our food causes us to have these eating patterns of 8 a.m. breakfast, 10 a.m. snack, 12 p.m. lunch, 2 p.m. snack, 4 p.m. snack, 6 p.m. dinner, 8 p.m. dessert, and 10 p.m. snack. This is how we're eating. We don't even realize it. Most people grossly underestimate how much food goes into their mouths on a day-to-day basis. So the connection to inflammation is this: processed foods, and it's not just the fiber that's been removed, that's just grossly understating what's happening. It's not just the fiber that's been removed. They also added some things that our body doesn't even recognize as real food. This is the toxins, the processing of foods, the things that allow food to be more preserved. They trigger stress in your body, and that damages the cells, rises inflammation, and then it blocks insulin resistance even more. And then unfortunately, when you remove the fiber from your food, you also deplete your gut bacteria for the food that they eat. They eat fiber. So now you have something called gut dysbiosis, and your gut bacteria is a huge player for overall health. Most of your immune system lies in your gut. A lot of your hormones are metabolized in your gut, including your feel-good hormones like serotonin. So now we have two problems. We have insulin resistance and we have leaky gut. So this causes this vicious cycle. So as I mentioned to you, your gut health is almost your body's control center. There is a big correlation between gut health and overall health, including the health of your brain. So a healthy gut equals a healthy immune system. Hence why a lot of people with autoimmune diseases, just like my friend Kim, who introduced me to this protocol that we'll be discussing, she had gut health issues, but she also had Hashimoto's. It was all correlated. And of course, when you have a damaged gut, you have substances that are not supposed to be in your bloodstream going into your bloodstream. Again, inflammation. So you can see the common theme here is this chronic inflammation that starts with lack of fiber and also eating constantly due to that. And so the bacteria that's supposed to help you, that's supposed to benefit you, is now lower, and now your insulin is even more resistant. So the key missing nutrient right now is another an epidemic that we're facing is fiber. Therefore, as a pediatrician, this is what I'm seeing that really, really made me become super alert to this. Is over the years practicing, I started noticing an increase in children with ADHD, anxiety, depression, autoimmune issues, even unfortunately, autism spectrum is starting to go on the rise. And a lot of it has to do with our modern lifestyle. So previous generations, including my own generation as a millennial, we played outdoors, we ate mostly whole foods. We had a normal puberty around 10 to 12 for girls, 12 to 13 for boys. And we rarely had metabolic illnesses. Now, unfortunately, kids are in front of their screens all day long, but mainly they're eating ultra processed foods. We at least only had processed foods and whole foods. They are having ultra processed foods. And unfortunately, it's causing a gamut of issues for them. So now they're entering puberty much earlier. They're chronically inflamed. They're experiencing diabetes and prediabetes much earlier than normal. These used to be considered adult onset illnesses. Now kids are having them at a rapid rate. Right now, about 1 in 4 teens have prediabetes or diabetes. It's 1 in 4 teens. Let that sink in. Right now, almost half of children are overweight or obese, half. And 1 in 3 are at a risk for developing diabetes in their lifetime. So, as I mentioned earlier, kids today represent the sickest generation in modern society. Right now, they're not slated to outlive their parents because the illness is rapidly rising. It's no longer trickling up, it's going up exponentially. So, this is a huge problem. Even if you don't see it for yourself, think of the children. So, my personal journey, I mentioned it a little bit, was that although I was a physician and although I was big on holistic and root cause, I didn't know that insulin resistance was the root cause of my own health issues. I didn't know why I was chronically fatigued. I thought it was anemia. I didn't know why I had constant brain fog. I thought it was because I worked 13, 14 hours a day. I didn't know why I had relentless sugar cravings. I thought it was my willpower. And I did everything right, but my stubborn weight gain persisted. So I realized that once I discovered the root cause by testing my insulin levels and reducing the actual insulin itself, then the weight fell off. Then my fatigue went away and my belly fat went away as well. And so that is why I'm passionate about sharing this with others, to deep dive into the metabolic reason why we are where we are. Now, although this sounds hopeless, the beautiful thing is there is hope. How do we reverse it? You reverse engineer the issues that occurred in the first place. So implementation is really important. Whole foods and allowing your insulin a break from constantly spiking with intermittent fasting, which we'll get into, and healing your gut as well. And that will in turn normalize your other hormones so you're not taking multiple medications to fix the branch issues. You're getting to the root cause, and then all of the other hormones improve as a result. So my transformation alone has been a game changer, and that's why I'm super passionate about sharing this, because many people don't know it, including your own doctors. And so maybe you're the one that's going to teach them that this is actually the root cause, and therefore you don't have to take IVF. You don't have to do IVF for infertility. Just fix the root cause of insulin resistance. You don't have to take multiple medications for Alzheimer's. You can address the root cause, and you don't have to be a slave to medications for the rest of your life. So that is my mission. And as you can see, my before and after, I was in residency in the before picture, and this is just a few months after taking the protocol that reversed my insulin resistance. And one of the best side effects is gaining a lot of muscle, which is a huge player in reversing insulin resistance as well. And so there is a hope for you, and there's a path forward. It is not your fault what happened. It's your body is not broken. It is ready to heal. Insulin resistance, I want to leave you with this, is fully reversible by addressing the root causes. Everything that's happening to you is not a personal failure. It's a systemic issue. When 93% of Americans have this issue, it is not personal. It's a systemic issue. So I want to leave you that healing starts with awareness, but also action. Every choice you make is a vote for healing. So once you create these small daily habits, you'll notice, as you can see, Jim reversed his diabetes within 43 days. My mom reversed her prediabetes within 2 weeks. It does not have to be gargantuan efforts, but it does start with a choice. So I want to leave you with that hope. Thank you.
I love that you said you want to leave with that hope, because that's what this is, right, doctor?
Yes.
I feel like people, when they start to get sick, they start to lose hope. Like they become helpless and hopeless. They're like, man, I don't want to go to the doctor, because every time I go to the doctor, they tell me more bad news. I don't want to go. And you start to feel hopeless. And so, I heard Dr. Bickman, it was a podcast that he was on, and he said something, and I'm going to paraphrase, but it was something like, no matter how far gone you think you are, you can always reverse insulin resistance. And, if that right there doesn't just say, hey, wait a minute. Hey, and, my mother-in-law's 81, and she reversed type 2 diabetes at 79 on this program. 79. And insulin, I hate this word. I hate the phrase because it's not the case, but insulin dependent type 2 diabetic. She was dubbed insulin dependent. She was on 60 units a day, 60. And she's now in complete remission from type 2 diabetes.
Wow. He saved
All
her
right.
life.
You know what? I didn't. I just showed her something. She saved her life.
Yes.
Hi, Miss Angelita. I will let Dr. Natasha, introduce you. How are you?
Hi, Hi, how are you all, guys? Thank you so much for having me join you all. I just love, oh my goodness, I just love that presentation, Natasha.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
was powerful. That
It
was
was very
amazing.
powerful.
That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you. Angelita, I'm so grateful and so happy you're here. This has been an incredible journey. Angelita and I, we actually met about maybe a year and a half ago in a concert where we went to a concert together with some mutual friends. We have a lot of mutual friends. We went to the same university different times and we met at a concert, and then months later I happened to be invited to her home for after church luncheon, and at that moment, I was already starting to use a protocol, and I had some with me, and I was going to share it with another individual. And she, Angelita was like, "What is this?" And Angelita, on the outside, Angelita is very healthy. She eats very healthy. She works out every day. But she mentioned that I'm going to let her tell you more of her story. But essentially, we met in her home, and she was mentioning that she had some issues with her gut. And I said, "Well, this is really good. This is one of the main reasons I'm doing this as well. It's for my gut." And Angelita is an action. She's a go-getter, and she's like, I want to start it right now. And within 2 weeks, I'll let Angelita let you in on her secret and what happened after that. So thank you, Angelita, for taking a chance.
So I was praying and I was just really grateful that Natasha ended up coming over my house that day, honestly. I don't know, and you all can probably resonate with this. You get to a point where you're just frustrated, you're fed up. And for me, I didn't know what else to do. I didn't. And I'm a nurse practitioner and I know what to do. I know how to eat healthy. I know what tests to look for. For me, I had trouble just eating food. Anytime I put dairy, bread, rice, pasta in my body, I would bloat. And I was taking several medications along with supplements, totaling about six a day for irritable bowel, GERD, anxiety, depression, constipation. And I know what to do. I know how to eat. I didn't have like a weight issue, but at the same time, too, when you're 45, you got some areas in your body that, you want it to be a little bit tighter than what it is. So I struggled with that. And when we know better, you do better. And I didn't know better. Being a clinician, we think we know everything, but we don't. And Natasha just gave me this packet. She said, just trust me. So I took the packet and it was easy. I, I drank the fiber and then she said, do a little bit of fasting. I was like, there's no way I can fast. There's absolutely no way I can fast. She was like, drink this tea. So I followed her instructions and it was so easy. A lot of us struggle and you have the mindset that you're going to struggle. But what I love about this system is it's literally giving your body the nutrients that it desires and it craves and it needs. And as a result, you don't struggle with it. And I just did the system and I just noticed over time, like anytime I had bread, I still couldn't do dairy yet. Anytime I would eat dairy or anything spicy, I wouldn't have the bloating. So kept doing the system. 2 weeks went by, then 3 weeks, and then I started taking medicines away. So I started taking, my omeprazole away for my acid reflux, my Pepcid away. I started taking away my digestive enzyme, my prebiotics, my lactate. I slowly started getting rid of things, and I was like, okay, this is really working. So then I started looking into it. Before I really didn't look into the science of it, and I was like, you know what? I thought I was healthy, but I really wasn't healthy. And within being on the protocol after 3 months, I ended up coming off all six medications. After being on my antidepressant for 10 years, I was finally able to come off. And that's when I was a believer because, like Dr.
So how long
Natasha
did you say
said,
you were on those?
I was on it for 10 years. 10 years ago, I lost a child and my whole life turned upside down. And I've been trying to come off of it, but if anybody ever dealt with anxiety or depression, those moods come, you only have so much willpower, you know, and I would always even tell my patients, oh, it's a chemical imbalance. We just don't make enough, of the dopamine and the norepinephrine and the serotonin. But I didn't realize that 90% of your serotonin is in your gut. And I didn't
Mhm.
think I was sick. That's the thing. You look at me and you would think that I'm the healthiest person. But I was so sick. But after 10 years, I was finally able to come off. And then that's when I became a believer. So after that, I tell everybody about it. I'm like, look, you just got to try it. It's a belief. It really is a belief system because we've normalized illness. And I say this all the time. We normalize illness. For every illness, there's a pill. But
Mhm.
this solution has allowed me to be able to have the freedom with my health and being an advocate. So I always say be an advocate for yourself.
We have normalized illness.
We have.
There's the quote of the week, right?
Yep.
Jeez. What I take away from this is a guy. I've been hosting this with Dr. Tiffany for a little over a year now. And last fall, Dr. Tiffany had some things that kind of pulled her away from here. And in her absence, Dr. Midgen Brown filled in, endocrinologist. Dr. Eric Aiken filled in. Dr. Eric Aiken is a neurosurgeon. Dr. Amanda Yu, she's a PharmD, filled in. Dr. Tiff's unavailable today. Dr. Natasha filled in. And Angelita, I didn't know until just now, you're a nurse practitioner. If people aren't getting the message yet, I didn't know that you were a nurse practitioner until just now. If you aren't getting the message, this is real. So, okay, Angelita, that was amazing. If you don't mind, I'm going to shut your camera off for a moment. I want to bring you back. I'd like to bring you back if I can clear my throat first. Maybe I'll let you talk for a little longer no, I'm just kidding. I'm going to shut your camera off, but I want to bring you back at the end of the live stream for anybody who might have some questions for you. And I'm going to zip through how to use the system really quick and just touch on a couple of things that kind of make the system work. Does that work for you, Angelita?
Yep, that sounds
Just
good.
want to say Angelita is absolutely incredible. She is the model patient, the model client, the model everything. She's a believer because she trusted in this. So Angelita, thank you so much because it's your belief that made me even continue. Because as well as this works, I have to say, Jim, that not a lot of people, including medical professionals, I know you've had other ones here, sometimes their belief that no, there's no way something like this could be so simple. They turn off that belief system. And so thank you, Angelita, because you actually helped me propel this as well forward. So thank you.
No, thank you
100%,
guys.
yeah. And I have my thoughts behind that, and maybe one of these days I'll share those thoughts, but it seems too good to be true. And in a world where we're just bombarded with commercials all day long, I mean, there's new problems every week. Like, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have a itch behind your right ear on Sunday mornings? If so, you could have, something. It's like, geez, I guess I do have an itch behind my right ear. I need to get on that medication. And then they're like, yeah, side effects may include your foot falling off. And, oh, okay. I didn't realize it was that bad, but I think that's what it is. I don't know. Don't laugh. Don't encourage this.
It's so sad.
Okay, let's start here. Since I got so many medical professionals, Dr. Natasha, what can you tell us about this thing?
So that big book right there is, wow, I love that you have the hard copy. You can also get an app for it, but essentially it's the physician's desk reference. And this includes pretty much all of the medications that doctors can prescribe from. And so any doctor can look up all the medications from Schedule 1 substances all the way down to Tylenol and see the uses, the side effects, how it should be used, and all of these things and how to prescribe it. In that physician's desk reference at pdr.net. So that includes all of it. And Jim is going to go into the beautiful thing about this protocol.
What's really cool about this is, so this is where your medical professionals would go to look up information about commonly prescribed pharmaceuticals, right? Ozempic, Mounjaro, metformin, that sort of thing. And as it says on the cover here, I don't know if you notice or not, but Dr. Natasha just alluded to it. It's www.pdr.net. And so that is the prescriber's digital reference. It's part of the physician's desk reference suite of goods. And I am going to go there really quick. I should have had this queued up, but that's how I do. You don't know that about me yet. I just fly by the seat of my pants.
That's the best way to fly.
What's that?
That's the best way to fly.
Okay, so here we are. We are at the prescriber's digital reference. Also, this is part of the physician's desk reference suite of goods. Now, this is where doctors can go and look up things like Ozempic, right? You hit search. I'll just dig a little bit here. Of course, it's going to take a little while because I'm doing a live stream, but this is where Ozempic, aka semaglutide, you can get the drug summary, and then, the classes. It's a glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonist, because GLP-1 is a hormone. This is a receptor agonist. Okay, but you can look up the adverse reactions. Some interesting adverse reactions like appendicitis, pancreatitis. Boy, if you're taking Ozempic to control type 2 diabetes and you go and get pancreatitis, that is a whole nother. Anyway, this is where doctors can go and look up stuff like that. And I want to just make it a point here that, if we were to look up Metamucil and you hit search, Metamucil, there are no results found. Okay. Now, why do I bring that up? I'm going to look up Unicity, which is what these products are that we're talking about. And there are 19 different instances of Unicity's products in here. We're talking about 2 of them here, but there are a lot of products that are equally as amazing. Just these 2 particular products really put us out. They stand out because they really, really do an amazing thing. And so what I want to talk about really is Unicity Balance. We're going to start here. You'll see the full prescribing info, I might add. And you'll see it is also known as BioSlife. Okay, I'm going to touch on that in a moment, but we'll also see Unicity Unimate, and I'll do a search on that really quick, and you'll see it right here. There's also Unimate Fuel, which is an amazing product. If any of you have a sweet tooth, that one is a salted caramel flavor.
It's amazing.
But here you can find the information on Unimate. And I bring this up, I guess I could just do real quick. You're not going to see Lipton iced tea in here. And the reason I bring up Lipton iced tea is there's one prominent doctor on social media who said, well, you can just buy some Lipton iced tea. You can enjoy Lipton iced tea. You will not find it in the PDR. Now, the reason these products are in there is because they're what we call a nutraceutical. And that's a new word that not a whole lot of people have heard of, but these are nutraceuticals, which basically a nutraceutical is an all-natural version of a pharmaceutical. Is that a fair way to describe it, Dr. Natasha?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we're going to go with just that right there. So let me build on this. So let's start with BioSlife. BioSlife, this is a packet from Australia. This is a packet from South Korea. I'm a nerd, by the way, with these things. This is a packet from Saudi Arabia. BioSlife is available in like 60 some different countries globally. Now, BioSlife was developed by Rexall Pharmacy in the late 80s, before Natasha was even born, I think.
I was born.
Yeah, okay. By 1. So BioSlife was developed by Rexall Pharmacy, which at one point was the largest pharmacy chain in North America by like a long shot, 11,000 some stores. For comparison's sake, right now there's about 13,000 McDonald's. So about as frequently as you'd see a McDonald's today, you would have seen a Rexall in its heyday. Now, they developed that in the United States. Of course, we call it Balance. Okay? And in the United States, it's actually served in this kind of packet now, which is really, really convenient. Anyway, BioSlife. Let's talk about the top heart hospital in the United States. And I'm going to start pushing the gas pedal here pretty quick because we're getting close to that 1 hour timeline. So the top heart hospital in the United States is the Cleveland Clinic. It's been widely considered the top heart hospital for some time now, 20 years-ish or more. Now, the reason I bring up the Cleveland Clinic is, some people might say that they know a thing or two about statin medications. Now, this study right here, this is PubMed. This is an official website of the United States government. It's looking at a fiber and multivitamin combination therapy. Let's just talk about a fiber and multivitamin. The reason I'm talking about a fiber and multivitamin is BioSlife. Balance is a combination of 7 different plant-based fibers and a multivitamin, and it was studied by the Cleveland Clinic. Let me bring that study up here. This is the actual study. This is Metabolism Journal, published in September of 2002. So by the way, this has been out for quite a while. This is what they call a double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial. It was peer-reviewed. It was published. And you can see right here that it's been cited 20 times. It's kind of a handy-dandy little piece of research. If you wanted to read it in full text, you could download it. And this is what the full text looks like. If you scroll down, you'll see it's from the preventative cardiology section of the Cleveland Clinic. And you will see that the fiber tested was BIOS-Life 2. BIOS-Life. And then the LDL, that's the bad cholesterol. This little sentence right here kind of says it all. By the time of the interim visit, which was 4 weeks after randomization, the treatment group demonstrated significantly lower LDL-C than the placebo group. That trend continued through the next 4 weeks to the end of the blinded phase. In fact, you could scroll down and see the values. These are the actual values, significant reductions, LDL, total cholesterol. You can see all the different things that they looked at. But at the end of this, they concluded such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. Dr. Natasha, I believe that sounds a lot like such a product, BIOS-Life, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk. That's heart disease, right?
Absolutely.
On a population basis, that's everybody, right?
Yes.
And potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. Those are statins, right?
The most commonly prescribed drug in the world.
Statin, right? So such a product. Let's just rewrite that a little bit. BIOS-Life, if taken regularly, could reduce heart disease for everyone and potentially decrease the need and or dose for statins. Is that fair, Dr. Natasha?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, top heart hospital in the United States.
Cleveland Clinic.
Okay, now let's go over to Unimate. Unimate, to talk about Unimate, I'm going to talk about this dude really quick. This is Dr. Ben Bickman. This is just his go to Google and type in Dr. Ben Bickman. Dr. Bickman is a leading expert in metabolic health, particularly focusing on insulin resistance and its connection to chronic diseases. He is a professor at Brigham Young University and director of their diabetes research lab. In fact, this is his profile on BYU's website. He's a professor of cell biology and physiology, and you can see he oversees their laboratory of obesity and metabolism, and he pays particular emphasis on the etiology of insulin resistance. In fact, he's been published more than 30 times on the topic of insulin resistance. Now, this study right here was published in October of 2023. It looks at a yerba mate supplement, and you'll see that was Dr. Ben Bickman. And the materials and methods, you can see the mate was from Unicity International. That's because that is the tea that comes with this kit. Now, what this study found was that effectively, in a nutshell, Unimate made you a more efficient fat burner. It increased the mitochondrial efficiency. It made you burn fat better. Alongside this study, Dr. Bickman observed something very interesting. GLP-1, those Ozempic, Mounjaro, those types of medications. What he found was that this tea right here also increased GLP-1 production. I didn't share the right tab. There we go.
That I'll be sharing at a meeting in March in Las Vegas is that this yerba mate supplement called Unimate also increases GLP-1. We found in this experiment we did, the GLP-1 levels went up by about 70% in a fasted states, which is pretty considerable. That I'll be
so increased GLP-1 production by up to 70%. I think that's a pretty powerful little statement right there. So what we've got here is this packet of balance, which causes statistically significant reductions in LDL cholesterol, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis, right? Could reduce heart disease. And we're pairing it with a tea that makes you a more efficient fat burner. It also increases GLP-1. There's a lot of other things in this tea. I'm just short on time here, but anti-inflammatory, helps lower blood pressure, helps with lipids control. There's all sorts of things that are in here that also help with other things, but just to get to the punchline, GLP-1, big deal. These two products, when you order it in the United States, and I say in the United States, again, they're available in over 60 countries globally. What you would get is 2 of the packets of tea and 1 of the packets of fiber every day for 30 days. That would be 1 kit. If you try these products every day for 90 days, they guarantee your satisfaction. What Unicity is guaranteeing is that you're going to lower your cholesterol, you're going to lower your blood pressure, you're going to lower your A1C, your glucose, your body weight. They're guaranteeing that. If you don't, if you're not satisfied for any reason whatsoever, ask for a refund. They'll give you all of your money back, 100% of your money back. They do accept HSA, FSA, and then credit cards. I believe there's even an option for Klarna. I think there is. And then PayPal, I believe. So all sorts of ways. The biggest thing is get on it. If you feel like you're helpless and hopeless, if you feel like you're stuck, there's no need. There's an option. There are things. And this thing is being backed by so many medical professionals now, by the top scientists. By the way, Dr. Bickman is the director of the Scientific Advisory Board. We have literally the top metabolic scientist in the world behind this. So what I want to do is, by the way, if you want to order the system, get with the person who invited you here, and they'll tell you how to order it. They have a referral link that will give them a discount because you ordered. And guess what? You'll get the same kind of referral link. You'll be able to reduce your price by doing the same. That's how we do this. We share it, okay? I want to bring everybody back out here. Kim and Angelita. By the way, did I miss anything? I was trying to blaze through that. Did I miss anything that you guys could think of? No?
Did great.
Just give it 90 days.
90
You have
days.
nothing to lose.
Okay, so I wanted to ask anybody if they have any questions whatsoever. Let's see. I see replying to the Healthy Pit Master. I'll check it out. Tim, if you just stumbled across this live stream, send myself or Dr. Natasha a direct message, and we'll point you in the right direction as far as to how to order. Anybody else who just stumbled across that, just get with either Dr. Natasha or myself, and we'll point you in the right direction for how to order it. Anybody else, just get with the person who brought you here. Does anybody have any questions whatsoever for any of the people here? And while we're waiting for questions, why did I do that? Questions. I don't even drink anymore.
No more hot toddies.
Oh, yeah. This hot toddy Unimate.
I know, right?
And Talita, I'm going to ask you the golden. Here's the question, okay? As we're waiting, what can we say to convince our doctor to jump on board? Oh, Sean.
Show them the science.
Yeah.
Literally, just open up the physician's desk reference. It's so easy. And when you open it, it specifically states like what the percentages are for the hemoglobin A1C reduction, what the physician's desk reference also says about the lipid lowering properties of the statin. I mean, it's right there.
It is. It's crazy. Also, I didn't touch on the University of Sydney because of time, but the University of Sydney is the home of the glycemic index, and they observed a 20 to 28% reduction in blood glucose, 13 to 27% reduction in blood insulin, and then it lowered the glycemic index as well as the insulin index for all 3 test foods that they put in front of it. Big deal. The particular person that did that study, her name is Dr. Jenny Bren Miller. Her husband, I don't know if you guys know this or if it even matters, but her husband is Dr. John James Miller. He was the medical director for Novo Nordisk Australasia for decades.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, parent company to Ozempic. So a lot of people will come to me and they'll say, well, who paid for the study? I'm like, do you think, like, if she was going to be bought, she'd have been bought by Ozempic.
Yeah, Ozempic.
You can't afford her. So that's just good research. Okay. The other thing I would say, Sean, is there are a lot of these calls. There's a lot of calls. Trent Tuller does a science call on Tuesday nights. Dr. Dieter does a call Monday nights, Friday nights, Sunday night, I believe. Dr.
Yeah.
Sunday night. And I have this call. There are plenty of opportunities to put your doctor or anybody's doctor in front of other peers to learn. Okay, so I don't see a whole lot of other questions coming in. Angelita, 30 seconds, you're on the spot. We got a lot of skeptics out there. They think this is hocus pocus. They think this is whatever they're going to call it. What do you say to them?
If you're tired of struggling, if you're tired of seeing the same results, you know, you go to your doctor, they do a physical, they test you for everything, and they can't come up with a solution on why you are feeling this way, give it a try. We don't have to suffer. A lot of us suffer in silence, but be an advocate for yourself. Have them run a fasting insulin panel. You have nothing to lose.
Everything to gain. I just added on to yours. Nothing to lose,
Mhm.
everything to gain.
You have nothing to lose, you know. And I love the policy that the company has, the 90-day money back guarantee. Because if you don't see a change, a difference in anything, the way you feel, clothes. I mean, I lost 15 pounds. I wasn't trying to lose weight, but now I look good in my clothes. I feel good in my clothes, you know. So once again, you have nothing to lose. I could talk about this all day.
First off, I love your smile and I love that giggle. Okay, Miss Carr, what do you say? Same question to you.
Well, same as her. If you're struggling with your weight, your health problems, I don't know what you're waiting on. Get on this program. A lot of people say, well, what if it don't work? It costs a lot. I'm saying, I am standing here before you and you are looking at my pictures and you're going to ask me, what if it don't work? If you'll
Hmm.
follow the program and do it right, we are living proof that it
Yes.
works. Invest in your life because it's the best
Yes.
investment I ever made,
You
without
cannot
a
make
doubt.
money when you're sick. You can't. Mm-mm. I
I,
always say that. Yep.
I have
Mm-mm.
added years and years, I feel, to my life. By being on this program, it has saved my life
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
100%.
Dr. Natasha, over to you. What do you say to those people?
I will say that you're going to pay either way. You can either pay on the front end by preventing or at least reversing the illness when it's at a place where you can manage it, or you pay on the back end $20,000 a day in the ICU. So there's no getting around paying for your health. You have to make a decision. I want to give you hope that the rest of the world will blame you. A 93% problem is not a personal failure, it's a system issue. But if you wait for the system to reverse that issue, you'll be waiting until your grave. So, yes, it's not a personal failure, but it is your personal responsibility to do something about it. And we're offering you hope.
Golly.
If I had spent the
Great.
money that I have spent on junk, I call it, on diet pills and fad diets, I could buy everyone that would like to get on this program package. It's all junk except the program.
Love it. Well, I don't know how to add to that. If anybody wants to try the product, just get with the person who invited you here. Dr. Natasha, you were absolutely amazing. Thank you very much for filling in with Dr. Tiff. Angelita, Kim, thank you for coming in and sharing your testimonials. I know it's kind of putting yourself out there. I know I appreciate that more than you know. For everybody else, Dr. Tiff and I'll be back next week, and we'll see you next week.